52-year-old Kristen Cabot's fate still hangs in the balance. She's married to Andrew Cabot, heir to one of New England's oldest and most prestigious families, the Cabots.
This is my casino. Step out. Bring your money.
Who blew the whistle? The two executives caught on that now infamous Coldplay kiss cam were first identified on a TikTok account of someone who apparently works at the company. Oh my God, that looks like Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and Astronomer Chief People Officer Kristen Cabot.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
I feel like this isn't a good way, and if you're gonna get caught cheating, it shouldn't be like this.
Well, maybe he should have thought of that before he was cheating.
Coldplay threw a couple on the kiss cam. Turns out they were having an affair? I don't think even Coldplay can fix this.
Astronomer CEO Andy Byron, who was caught there at a Coldplay concert on the Jumbotron, cozying up with his company's head of human resources.
It sucks. Are you joking? It's bad.
It's terrible.
It's stupid.
Don't cheat on your wife. That makes you a scumbag. Let's just start there, full stop. But if you want to be a retarded scumbag, then you can go cheat on your wife at a concert where you're liable to be put on a massive camera in front of everyone, tens of thousands of people here in Boston, watching this.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
That's a Coldplay concert, and it is the most viral clip on the internet.
So Coldplay hasn't made a single in years, and now they just made two last night.
I don't know what's worse, finding out in 8K that your husband is a fan of Coldplay, or that he's cheating on you at the Coldplay concert, or that he's cheating on you with an old woman.
So the latest update is this. Kristen Cabot's husband has officially fired back, and let's just say it's not subtle. And it looks like Andy Byron might be getting sued by his own wife too. What started as a cringy stadium moment just took a legal turn, and things are unraveling fast. The clip that broke the internet showed Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and HR chief Kristen Cabot looking more like a couple on date night than two top execs at a billion-dollar firm. Chris Martin even made a joke on stage because that's how obvious it was. They weren't there on business. And now that clip is doing more than just making rounds online. It's destroying lives in real time. Kristen's husband, Andrew Kitt, is done. He's already filed to end the marriage and, from what insiders say, is considering financial action. And Andy's wife? She's gone radio silent, but her sudden social media purge and disappearing act to their main mansion suggests this isn't just heartbreak. It's planning mode. And let's not forget, Kristen was head of HR. Her entire job was to prevent exactly this kind of scandal. The hypocrisy is brutal. The fallout, worse. And now with lawsuits looming and reputations in shambles, the only thing left is to ask, how far is this going to go? Stick around. Because this isn't just an HR disaster. It's a public implosion playing out on the biggest stage of all, the internet. It all went down at Gillette Stadium in Boston.
As you can see, this is the video that has, again, been going super viral on social media.
July 2025, the venue was packed. Coldplay was performing. The crowd was vibing. And then came the kiss cam. You know, that moment that's supposed to be lighthearted, sweet, and maybe a little awkward. Except this time, it wasn't any of those things. It was a disaster in real time. The camera pans across the crowd, then suddenly freezes on a couple sitting close, too close. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, a billion-dollar tech company, is seen leaning toward Kristen Cabot, the company's head of HR. At first, it's all smiles. Then it gets weird. The two glance at the screen like they've been hit with a flashlight in the dark. Kristen spins away. Andy looks caught. And then, Chris Martin, with the kind of comedic timing no PR rep could recover from, delivers the punch. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. The audience laughs. But for anyone who knew who those two were, or who they were supposed to be with, it was a punch to the gut. That one moment, caught on the stadium's Jumbotron and instantly screen recorded by fans, blew up online within hours. A TikTok user, allegedly an employee at Astronomer, posted it with a caption that might go down as the most passive-aggressive call-out of the year. Pretty sure that's our CEO and head of HR. The clip was viewed over 30 million times in just 2 days. Shared, duetted, broken down like it was surveillance footage. Suddenly, two names that were once respected in the tech space became the poster couple for corporate betrayal. And what made it worse? This wasn't some grainy zoom shot from across the arena.
He's the CEO of a software startup. She's head of his HR department. The clip everyone is talking about except for two people who have the most explaining to do.
This was crystal clear footage, stadium lighting, front row embarrassment. No denials, no excuses, just a quiet panic behind frozen smiles. The internet was just warming up. Because the moment this clip hit full speed, the fallout began. Inside the company, and even more brutally, inside their homes. The morning after the Coldplay clip went viral, you could practically hear the digital scramble, emails, damage control meetings, lawyers on speed dial. But the first move came from Kristen and Andy themselves. And it wasn't an apology, it was a disappearance. By sunrise, both Kristen Cabot and Andy Byron had deleted their LinkedIn profiles. Not updated, not edited. Gone, wiped. The two most public-facing executives at Astronomer vanished from the platform professionals used to control their narrative. It was the social media equivalent of pulling the fire alarm and ducking out the back door. But here's the thing. When you vanish after being caught, people notice. Especially when you're the CEO and the HR chief of a tech company that just raised $93 million in venture funding. Especially when your company has dozens of employees, clients, and investors all watching this unfold. In public. Inside Astronomer, employees were stunned. Slack messages started leaking. Reddit threads popped up from people claiming to be former or current staffers. The general vibe? No one was surprised that something was going on, but everyone was shocked that it blew up like this. And then came the official response. Astronomer dropped a sterile press release saying that Andy Byron had resigned and that leadership was expected to uphold certain standards. Translation? The board pushed him out fast to stop the bleeding.
Okay, so there's a photo of them, right? This is their little tech company. Too bad, you know? They'll be a scumbag. And if you are a scumbag, then, well, I guess you deserve this.
One day, he's the face of the company, and the next, he's out. Kristen, meanwhile, didn't get an official mention, just a quiet retreat into digital silence. Even interim CEO Pete DeJoy couldn't spin this into something clean. When pressed, he called the scandal unusual, but said at least Astronomer was now a household name. Not exactly the kind of branding a company wants to be known for. But hey, visibility's visibility, right? The plan was clearly to go quiet, wait for it to blow over. But that plan didn't work, because Kristen and Andy forgot one thing. When you go silent, the internet speaks louder. And the loudest voice? Kristen's husband. Because what happened next? That wasn't just corporate fallout, it was marital detonation. If you thought the workplace drama was bad, just wait until you hear what happened behind the scenes at home. Because while Kristen and Andy were busy ghosting LinkedIn and dodging the public eye, Kristen's husband, Andrew Kitt, wasn't playing damage control. He was playing offense. And honestly, can you blame him? Andrew isn't just some anonymous spouse. He's a well-known business figure in Massachusetts, heir to the Kitt family legacy, and founder of a boutique rum company that Kristen had reportedly been helping manage. They weren't drifting apart. They were building a life, just bought a $2 million dream home in the suburbs, hosted family events, made public appearances. It wasn't a crumbling marriage, it was a blindsided one. Sources close to Andrew say he found out the same way the rest of the world did, on social media via a stadium kiss cam clip with his wife cuddling up to her boss. In high definition, with Coldplay music playing in the background, and Chris Martin commenting on it. You can't even script that. But this isn't just betrayal, it's reputation destruction.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
For Andrew, this wasn't about a bad headline. It was about getting humiliated on a global stage. His name, his family, his business. Now attached to a scandal he didn't sign up for. And so, Andrew snapped. Within days, insiders confirmed he was filing for divorce. No PR statement, no chance for reconciliation, just done. And not quietly either. Legal teams are reportedly involved, financial assets are being sorted, and Kristen is being completely cut off from both the marriage and the business. One source said Andrew could never look at her the same way again. Another said he's already moved out, citing a complete emotional breach. Whatever that means, it sounds like the final nail's been hammered. And while Kristen went silent and Andy ducked the media, Andrew Kitt did something far more powerful. He took back control of the story. But while Andrew was exiting with dignity, Andy Byron was facing a storm of his own, one that might hit even harder than divorce. While Kristen's husband was making moves and filing paperwork, Andy Byron's household went quiet, dead quiet. No statements, no press releases, no denial. But silence doesn't mean peace. According to multiple sources, including Page Six and New York Post, Andy's wife, Megan Byron, didn't stick around to play the supportive partner. She reportedly packed up and retreated to their $2.4 million home in Maine.
Oh, she's talking to her friend. That's her friend.
I'm not quite sure.
She whips her back to the camera.
Yeah.
And he actually bends down to get out of like squatting to get out of the sight. Honestly, they should have listened to me. Look, well, he's really hugging her. It's tight.
Yeah, you just lean in. You have to lean in at that point.
Right?
Away from the media frenzy, away from the press, and definitely away from Andy. And though she's kept things low-key, her digital footprints tell the story. Observers noticed that Megan started scrubbing her married name from social media. Accounts went private, tags removed, quiet, calculated moves that signal one thing. She's separating herself from the scandal, literally and emotionally. But it doesn't end there. Legal insiders began speculating that Megan might sue, and not just for divorce. We're talking emotional distress, breach of marital trust, maybe even business impact. Because let's not forget, Andy wasn't just a husband. He was a high-profile tech CEO, and this scandal didn't just affect the family name, it nuked his professional reputation. And here's where it gets even more bizarre. Andy was allegedly considering legal action against the venue for public embarrassment. That's right. After being caught on the kiss cam, the guy apparently floated the idea of suing Coldplay, or the stadium, for invasion of privacy. Legal experts quickly shot that idea down. When you attend a public concert, especially one where you're seated in high-visibility rows, you're a part of the experience. And when you lean in for a little too much HR affection, that's on you, not the camera crew. Meanwhile, the internet didn't wait for any lawsuits to be filed. Memes exploded. TikTok dubbed him CEO of Cuddlegate. One user stitched the original video with mock courtroom scenes. Another recreated the entire kiss cam moment with sock puppets. Brutal. But that's how the internet works. Once your moment goes viral, you don't control the narrative anymore. And for Andy, that narrative was spiraling fast. But the worst was still to come. Because this wasn't just a lapse in judgment. This was a long game. And people were finally connecting the dots. Up until this point, most people thought the kiss cam clip was just a one-time mistake.
Oh, look at these two.
In a moment, these lovers won't ever forget.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
And one the world can't stop talking about.
I'm not quite sure what to do. Did we rumble you?
Kiss cam at a Coldplay gig in Boston, and their reactions said it all. They had something to hide.
A spontaneous lapse in judgment, right? But the internet wasn't convinced. And once Reddit and TikTok got their hands on the receipts, the theory changed from "this was stupid" to "this was strategic." Turns out this may not have been the first time Kristen and Andy crossed the line. Not even close. Internet detectives started digging. And what they uncovered pointed to a long-running relationship that didn't start on that stadium night. Internal photos, conference snapshots, company retreat selfies. Suddenly, Kristen and Andy were popping up together way too often, in settings that raised more questions than answers. And then came the kicker. A real estate blogger flagged that Kristen had sold a home earlier this year, months before the Coldplay incident, while still publicly listed as married to Andrew Kitt. Now, on its own, that might not mean much. But when combined with her sudden digital disappearance and the viral fallout, it looked like the start of an exit plan. people online began building a timeline. When Kristen stopped posting about Andrew, when Andy started skipping public events with Megan, when the two began co-leading internal HR culture panels at Astronomer. It didn't take long before TikTok creators were stitching together full-blown timelines labeled The Affair Unfolded, with cross-referenced Instagram posts and press appearances. Some employees even alleged that Kristen and Andy were always a little too in sync during leadership meetings. And if that wasn't enough, someone surfaced a family event photo from Andrew Kitt's side, where Andy Byron was reportedly present long before the kiss cam exposed anything. So yeah, the more people looked, the less spontaneous this looked. This wasn't just workplace flirting that escalated. This was a slow burn relationship that had allegedly been bubbling under the surface for years. One that just happened to detonate in front of 70,000 people and millions more online. But the damage wasn't just personal, it was professional. Because while Kristen and Andy were scrambling, the company they left behind was facing a collapse of its own. If you thought the scandal stopped at personal reputations, think again. Because Astronomer, the tech company at the center of this HR horror story, is now fighting for its life. Not in court, but in the boardroom. Let's not forget, this wasn't some small startup. Astronomer had just raised $93 million in funding, was working with major clients, and was positioning itself as the future of data orchestration.
I hope we didn't do so bad.
Chris Martin knew it, the internet did too.
Big promises, big money. And now, big mess. The moment the Coldplay clip went viral, investors started calling, not to ask questions, to demand answers. And while Kristen and Andy scrambled to delete their digital footprints, Astronomer's board made the first official move. Andy Byron was out. Immediately. The press release was classic corporate spin. Recent conduct did not meet the standards expected of our leadership. Translation: you humiliated the entire company on the Jumbotron, and we're not going down with you. But the real red flag wasn't just Andy's resignation. It was the reaction from the new interim CEO, Pete DeJoy. In a bizarre attempt to contain the chaos, Pete told reporters that, quote, "At least now Astronomer is a household name." A household name for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, inside the company, morale imploded. Employees began leaking Slack messages and DMs anonymously. Some said they had suspicions for months. Others admitted they felt betrayed, not just by the scandal, but by how long it was allegedly ignored. When your CEO and HR chief are the ones bending the rules, it kind of makes that last corporate ethics training feel like a joke. Clients are pulling back, recruiters are ghosting. And worse, Astronomer's once pristine Glassdoor profile, wrecked with one-star reviews and scandal jokes. You can clean up internal systems.
It's time to kiss it goodbye. Baseball is probably not the only thing you can say that about.
But you can't clean up a public image that's been shredded across every major platform. What was once a rising star in the tech space now has a brand no one wants to be associated with. One kiss cam moment turned a billion-dollar company into a meme. But the final nail? That's coming next. Because for Kristen Cabot, there's no going back to HR after what happened next. Of all the fallout that's come from this Coldplay disaster, Kristen Cabot's collapse might be the most poetic and the most permanent. Because while Andy Byron had the CEO title and the funding ties, Kristen was the one holding a position that relies entirely on trust. She was the chief people officer. In plain terms, the head of HR. The one who's supposed to prevent office scandals, not headline them. And here's where it gets brutal. Every article, every tweet, every TikTok breaking down this saga makes the same point. This wasn't just an affair, it was an HR train wreck. Her job was to enforce workplace conduct policies, the very same policies she and Andy allegedly broke, publicly, on camera, with stadium lighting. It doesn't get more ironic or more career-ending than that. Think about it. What company in 2025 is going to hire a former HR chief whose name is attached to Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal? Who's going to trust her with internal investigations, compliance training, or employee mediation sessions when the top Google result is a meme of her getting called out by Chris Martin? And it's not just public perception, it's the Google trail. Her LinkedIn, gone. Her digital presence, scrubbed. But the clip, still up. The TikToks, still trending. And the nickname HR Homewrecker, Unfortunately, that one's probably going to follow her around for a long time.
I think that the actual star of this story, though, is Chris Martin, who decides, given an opportunity here, to let these people off the hook and just let the camera move along, to suggest explicitly that these people are either having an affair. I mean, seriously? You just throw the fans under the bus who paid their hard-earned money for these tickets?
Well, good call from the lead man there, because it turns out that they were, in fact, probably having an affair.
Even other HR professionals have started weighing in on forums and LinkedIn threads. Many are calling it a textbook betrayal of trust. Some say she's set back the credibility of women in senior HR roles. Others are just shocked it happened in such spectacular, meme-worthy fashion. Kristen hasn't made a statement. No apology, no clarification, no attempt to salvage the narrative. And maybe that's because there's nothing left to salvage. At this point, her career in HR isn't just on pause, it's in free fall. Because when your entire job is about setting the standard, and then you become the scandal, you don't get a second chance. So now we've seen it all play out. 2 high-powered executives, 1 public moment, and an entire web of secrets detonated in real time. What began as a kiss cam joke at a Coldplay concert has now buried 2 careers, shattered 2 marriages, and dragged an entire billion-dollar company into chaos. And somehow, it's still not over. Kristen Cabot and Andy Byron thought they were just another couple in the crowd, but they forgot where they were. A stadium packed with phones, streaming, TikTokers, and fans ready to screen record everything. And once the clip hit the internet, that was it. You don't recover from getting exposed in 4K with Coldplay playing in the background. Andy's out as CEO. His wife, Megan, is reportedly gone and already separating legally. Kristen's LinkedIn has vanished. Her husband, Andrew Kitt, made his move early, filed for divorce, and pulled the plug on both their relationship and their business partnership. The internet dubbed them Cuddlegate, HR homewrecker, and worse. And at this point, those names might stick longer than their actual resumes. Astronomer, once one of the rising stars in tech, is now cleaning up digital debris. Investors are spooked, employees are leaking, clients are backing away. And the brand? Damaged. Maybe not permanently, but enough to be remembered for the wrong kind of virality. But here's the real takeaway. This wasn't just about poor judgment. It was about entitlement. About 2 people in power thinking the rules didn't apply to them. About risking it all, marriages, careers, and trust, for something they thought no one would ever see. They thought they were safe in the crowd. They thought the internet wouldn't catch it. They thought no one would put it all together. But the internet always does. Do you think they deserve to lose everything? Was this just a personal mistake gone public, or a slow-burning betrayal finally exposed? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button if you think trust still matters in business and relationships. And don't forget to subscribe for more no-filter breakdowns of the stories everyone else is too scared to touch. Until next time, stay smart, stay skeptical, and remember, if you're going to cheat, don't do it on the Jumbotron,